Thank you, Jayashree, Professor Swaminathan, Professor Bruce Alberts, colleagues, Mr. Jinnah, Dr. Selvam, Ms. Nancy Annabel. I also want to recognize the presence of Dr. Meena Swaminathan here, who is with us. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Tara Gandhi, Mrs. Bruce Alberts, and Professor Kesavan, and quite a few dignitaries who are here. But most importantly, the National Virtual Academy Fellows who have been elected, the 74 fellows. So big applause to the 74 fellows who have been selected through a very meticulous process, which Nancy mentioned a little while ago. And Ms. Tara Gandhi, who is here, who has invested a lot of time in setting up systems in terms of selecting this National Virtual Academy Fellows. We have today almost 1,870 fellows, I am told, nationwide, but also a small number of them are from other countries as well. So it's a great privilege to be with people who are actually making the change. And I was quite privileged to be with Kasturi in Tunisia and Usharani in Geneva when they were addressing the World Summit on the Information Society, who actually transformed the entire landscape of the discourse at the WSIS. Because I remember in Geneva when we were thinking about the next steps, Pakya Lakshmi and Usharani were actually bringing hope as to how ICTs could transform grassroots and rural societies. And Kasturi in Tunisia was a kind of a torchbearer who was interviewed by many people across the world, who wanted to know from the horse's mouth, as they say, as to how the information communication technologies can make a change. And thank you for being ambassadors for a long time. And it's almost 12 years since then, 2003, 2005. It's 12 to 15 years now, and you continue to hold the torch. And that's the message perhaps for the new 74 National Virtual Academy Fellows who have been selected this year to join this big group of 1,800 people. Now it's a unique program. Professor Swaminathan actually has this dream of having 1 million such people. We are about 1,800 plus now. But in India alone, in 600,000 villages, a woman and a man identified as grassroots knowledge intermediaries would mean about 1 million people. So it's a huge task, and I think these tasks can only be fulfilled by people like Mr. Jinnah, who just now mentioned about the problems that the bankers are facing, NPA. Now let's call NPA a new mantra. It's the National Performing Assets. So when it comes to the NVAs, they are the national performing assets. They are not non-performing assets. So I think we need to invest a lot. Thank you, Mr. Jinnah, for laying out certain steps as to how the MSSRF and the Grameen Gyan Abhiyan movement, the National Virtual Academy itself can work with institutions like NABARD. There is one step preceding the steps that you underlaid. That step is identifying these people. I think identifying these people, and Ms. Tara Gandhi would agree with me, is not an easy task. It's a peer review process. It's a process that actually identifies the gems in each and every village, and it costs money, time, efforts. And I think if in your scheme of things you could also include this selection process as part of the whole thing, then it becomes easier for people like Nancy to get to the 1 million mark. We can even select a particular state and run this as a pilot initiative, a state such as Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh or whichever, to see if we can identify in each village a woman and a man and provide them with the necessary support. Now when it comes to organizations like MSSRF, it's a great beginning that 1,875 people have been chosen to be in the academy. And in your run-up to moving towards 1 million, I think it's important for us to take them to the next level, as Mr. Jinnah mentioned. And one of the things that you may consider doing is linking them with multiple institutions. And that's exactly what this morning somebody was mentioning when Professor Bruce Alberts was asking about what is happening in Embalam. I think Dr. Selvam was mentioning that we have initiated the process, we have helped the village knowledge centers to come up, but the entrepreneurs and the grassroots academicians who run these academies and the knowledge centers network with multiple institutions. They are not just dependent on MSSRF. Of course, for technical assistance and support, they do look up to the MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, but for performing into the village in terms of assisting the community, they partner with multiple institutions. That's exceedingly important, because India's development depends in multiple institutions converging and contributing. And I think in the participatory knowledge management initiatives and the future networking of the 1875 fellows, you may want to consider this aspect of what they call in business terms business development initiative, because each NVA fellow is a networker, is a partnership manager in his or her own right, and I think we need to provide the support that they need. Unfortunately, the world is not able to recognize the capacity of people who speak in vernacular languages alone. As somebody mentioned, the American journalist, there are two types of jobs that are going to exist in the future, what they say. One is the jobs the computers would dictate. So the computers would dictate the human beings to do certain jobs, and that those are the jobs people would be doing. And the second set of jobs would be the professionals who would tell computers what to do. So these are the two types of jobs that are likely to be prevalent in the future. That means you need technology, you need communication. These two are very important. How much true it is, I don't know, but this is a kind of a prophetic message this American journalist Lieberman had proclaimed. If you look at the megatrends, the 7 megatrends that the Oxford Martin School had recognized, automation comes on the top of it. So at some stage, when we started off with the National Virtual Academy program, we were talking to TCS, the Tata Consultancy Services, IBM and others, to help us to manage at micro level weather management. So could we have micro weather stations? This was the question posed to the IBM and TCS fellows, and they were really figuring out in the hard way. But today, with the Internet of Things, the sensors, the augmented realities, and the UAVs, what they call the drones, the precision agriculture assisted through technological equipment is going to be the future. And we are actually seeing this trend. And the man who was training others to catch snakes from Kerala was mentioning that catching monkeys is no longer the mechanical business. It's more with sensors placed in the monkey traps, so that when the monkeys reach that place, we get alert on the mobile phones, and we go and using certain techniques catch these monkeys and so on. So we are going towards a situation where 5 billion within the next 3 years, 5 billion gadgets, machines we're going to talk to each other, and drones are becoming much more recognized. But unfortunately, these are all available for big farmers and those who have farms in developed countries. The task for MSSRF and others is to look at all these technologies and how do you bring it to the micro level, landless small farmers, and in assisting them, how do we bring technology down to the grassroots is a key. And in this as you transform, Dr. Selvam, the MSSRF's future, I would greatly recognize two areas which are cross-cutting. Gender issue is a cross-cutting issue, so you may have your own verticals within your organization, but ICTs for agriculture is another cross-cutting that you may have to recognize, and it's extremely important. If you actually do away with technology, we are actually missing out a big portion. And you can't also mainstream, unfortunately, technology in different verticals. You may have to keep this as a cross-cutting program. One small suggestion to the 74 fellows being elected today: in addition to whatever you do, excel in your field, one of the things that you may consider undertaking as a responsibility is eliminating malnutrition in your own villages. In India, the latest World Hunger Index, which actually focuses, although the term is a bit misleading, World Hunger Index, but if you look at the indicators, it's all about nutrition, stunted growth, and the wasted. So on those indicators, if you look at India is 100 out of 108 countries. So India is really at the bottom. Very many African countries, countries like Bangladesh, even Afghanistan, war-prone, kind of a country that is redeeming itself. Sri Lanka and many others are doing better than India. India has declined from 97, its position 97 last year, to 100. And I think it's extremely important for the fellows to ensure that your village is malnutrition free. The smile is the indicator of the index, the best index of the world. And if you were to put the smile on the face of the child, you have to ensure that the children are fed, nourished, well nourished, and supported. And in this process, as much the male child is supported, the girl child should also be provided with all the nutritive values. Thank you so much.